Hello and welcome back to Func. I'm Colby Hawk.
And I'm Lexia.
Thanks for tuning in today. So, Lexia, were you watching the Super Bowl this weekend?
Of course I was watching the Super Bowl this weekend. It was, I don't know, like the ending, I was kind of happy for the Eagles. I feel like they needed a win after that comeback from the Chiefs. So ultimately I feel like it was deserved. But like I don't really have a team in like the NFL. So
Well, one thing's
I was
for
kinda watching
certain.
for fun.
The Eagles definitely came ahead pretty good by the end. It was, 40-22, I think.
Yes.
So pretty good ending.
Significant.
Yeah. There's also a lot happening throughout the game. We had a lot of Super Bowl ads this year. I know some were more
Yes.
popular than others. I heard a little bit about like that Hims and Hers ad and how that was controversial with some people because they're talking about big pharma and obesity being a major problem in the United States. And then they say, oh, well, here, take our drugs. So that was kind of interesting, one I heard a little bit about. But you had like the Snoop Dogg ad that they did. And,
Yeah, the one that was like no hate. And,
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
hate America. I feel like that was like a really poignant message that like we all need right now. But Colby, why do you watch? Do you watch for like the food? Do you watch for the ads, the halftime show? I mean, the actual game, which I guess could be a factor in it. But
Well, I would say it's definitely kind of a social event. So, of course, there's also a little bit of food involved with that. I think that you can't really go wrong with pizza and wings.
So
You have
true.
to. I know like all of the restaurants and everything are pretty much inundated on game day because
Absolutely.
everybody wants to take home some stuff to munch on while the game's happening. I like it, but halftime's kind of hit or miss. This year was, depending on who you ask, a little bit lackluster because you had the Drake performance and all that. But I think you might agree the Taylor Swift performance way back when in like 2015
Long
was
time ago.
definitely
Yeah.
a little bit higher production value in some ways.
For
But
sure. Well, we would love to hear from you all. What is your favorite part of the Super Bowl? Why do you watch? Is it the commercials? It's a halftime show, food, social stuff? We would love to know in the comments. Head to our Instagram this week and check it out there.
This weekend, we had some really great warm weather that went all the way into the upper 70s. But unfortunately, this week has already started to cool down once again. Let's take a look at the forecast for the next few days. Today has cooled down with a high of 60 degrees and a low of 43 with some overcast skies. Tomorrow, it's expected to have a sharp drop in temperatures with a high of 43 and a low of 38 with an 85% chance of rain and overcast skies. We anticipate a similar forecast for Wednesday, but with a 90% chance of rain. Then on Thursday, the chance of rain will drop down to 45% with overcast skies, and it will look like it'll warm up again with a high of 65 and a low of 40.
Now let's see what the word of the day is. Today's word of the day is vestige. A vestige is a trace, mark, or symbol sign left by someone lost or vanished, and can be used in the context of the sentence such as, the ancient ruins of the Acropolis in Greece were vestiges of the once proud Greek Empire.
Let's chat about this week's CLPs. There are a lot of events happening this week, so it's a great time to catch up and earn some credits. Tomorrow, Tuesday, February 11th, from 5 to 6 p.m. in the Patrick Lecture Hall, Dr. Francis Kim will host a lecture using pictures and films to illustrate Korean culture, history, and economy to show how martial law and dictatorships affected South Korean culture, democracy, literature, and economic development. Also tomorrow, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the Trone Student Center Watkins Room, the Chemistry Department will present the 54th Southern Lecture, Investigating What Matters, by Dr. Rachel Burks. Dr. Burks is a forensic scientist and an analytical chemist. Her work focuses on the intersection of STEM and social justice issues. In this lecture, she will explore the intersection of chemistry and crime, including how chemistry can contribute to and solve crimes, and how forensic science can address and contribute to the problems in the justice system. This presentation was specially developed for a general audience, so fortunately, there's no advanced scientific knowledge that's required to understand it.
This week on Wednesday, February 12th, from 6:30 to 8:30 in Trone Student Center Watkins Room, the Tocqueville Center will be hosting a lecture on the American family. The center is bringing two scholars who have recently published data-rich books on the contemporary family. University of Virginia sociology professor Bradford Wilcox will each give a 30-minute summary of their findings on his recent work demonstrating benefits of marriage to individuals and society. His talk will be followed by a response panel composed of Dr. Wilcox, plus Dr. David Fleming of the Politics and International Affairs Department here at Furman, in addition to Dr. Franklin Ellis from the Psychology Department.
Now let's check out today's This Day in History segment. On February 10th, 1962, American pilot Francis Gary Powers was exchanged for KGB Colonel Rudolph Abel. This spy exchange took place in the early morning on Glienecker Bridge, which was turned into a no man's land following the Berlin Wall being built in August 1961. This ended the U-2 spy plane incident, which had gripped both American and Soviet Cold War diplomacy for nearly 2 years. In 2015, Steven Spielberg released the award-winning film Bridge of Spies, which chronicled these events.
Let's take a look at today's top news stories. 4 people have been arrested in connection with child abuse at a daycare in South Carolina. The Florence County Sheriff's Office said that the investigation involves Maranatha Christian School in Florence. Lauren Boyce, 73, a daycare worker at the school, is accused of intentionally and repeatedly assaulting a child by slamming the head of the child into the crib, covering the child's head with a blanket, pressing down on the child's head for a length of time, and also dragging the child out of the room. Investigators say that Boyce is also accused of approaching a child on the playground, knocking the child over, picking the child up, and carrying the child by the arm, as well as their legs, before intentionally dropping the child from waist height onto the child's head. The sheriff's office has stated that 2 other employees at the school have also been charged for failing to report the child abuse and/or neglect. Investigators say that Jessica Angeline Elmore, 33, and Dawn Denise Kiervan, 42, have been notified of the abuse and were never lawfully required to report the abuse to law enforcement, and they did not do so. All suspects are being held at the Florence County Detention Center while awaiting a bond hearing. The investigation is still ongoing.
At the Super Bowl game last night, President Donald Trump said that minting U.S. penny coins is wasteful and is mulling over the idea of discontinuing them. During the game, Trump said, "For far too long, the United States has minted pennies which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time." Now, it's not the first time that politicians have mulled the idea of reforming the 1-cent coin. Anytime we're spending more money on something that people don't actually use, that's an example of something that we should probably change, President Barack Obama said in 2013. A number of attempts to do that have been made in Congress. In 1989, legislation was introduced to round cash transactions to the nearest nickel. As recently as 2023, bills to change the composition of coins to cheaper materials have been introduced, but all have failed. The debate over the penny has reemerged amid the Trump administration's focus on cost cutting, with the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency posting about it on X during the first week of Trump's second term. A 2024 U.S. Mint report says that the unit cost for the 1-cent coin is more than 3.69 cents and has exceeded its face value for over 19 years. And according to a 2014 U.S. Mint report, there are no alternative metal compositions that reduce the manufacturing unit cost of the penny below its face value. If the Trump administration succeeds in tossing out the penny, the 1-cent coin would not be the first low denomination coin to be discontinued in the U.S. Congress ordered a stop to minting the half-cent coin back in 1857.
Now turning to news in our own backyard, Sydney Lind will take a look inside of a Furman student favorite, the new coffee shop, Day Drinkers.
Both really just want this to be a place where somebody can walk in and feel like it's like a deep breath of fresh air.
If a warm hug were a place, it'd be Day Drinkers, a local coffee shop in San Souci, South Carolina, only a 10-minute drive from the heart of Greenville. Meet the dynamic duo behind it all, Nikki and Katie. Their friendship began about 12 years ago. Katie always begged Nikki to start a coffee shop, mostly joking. But one day, she finally said, okay, let's do this.
In the moment was just being like, Nikki, we can do this and we can do it well. And it just was the right time where she was like, you know what? Yeah, we can do this and it would be amazing. And I don't know what's keeping me from doing it.
The pair were on two totally different career paths. But with this new idea, the journey started about a year and a half ago. With the support of family, friends, and the local coffee community, that idea turned into reality. Meet Day Drinkers.
Everything felt so lined up. You know, when you just feel like something's right and then it all lines up and it's just a clear sign that it's just everything was working out so not easily, but so like it was meant to be kind of.
3 months later, coffee was brewing.
Every piece about here is just like a culmination of people that we love and that they somehow took a chance on us. And yeah, it was a lot of work here 24/7, but yeah, we did it in 3 months.
Owning a business with your best friend can sound like a dream or a nightmare, depending on who you ask. But for Nikki and Katie, it seems to be working out just fine.
We've had so many different conflicts where we've just like figured it out and then we've come out stronger on the other side, which is really cool. And yeah, we like kind of joked the other day and we were like, this one coffee shop that we have in our head, like far away from here, but we were just like, I wonder like how long they stayed friends for. And she was like, you think we're past that point, right? Like we have like a solid foundation now.
If you've never been to Day Drinkers, it's a different culture than most coffee shops where you simply grab your coffee and sit down for whatever project you've got going on that day.
We've said this since the beginning. We just want a place for people to come and have a vessel that they can gather around. And like that vessel for us is coffee, beer, wine, and tea, whatever that is, like whatever beverage you want.
Friendship isn't the only benefit customers gain. As women entrepreneurs, the pair are showing others how to lead too.
In leadership as women, we've been raised to think like your greatest attribute is how people see you, and hopefully that's like docile and kind and like meek, where like as somebody, maybe a man in your position would be viewed as strong in a certain way, like a woman would be seen as a jerk or like just the worst. So I think I've always taken the approach of like, there's so much power in kindness and empathy. And as women, a lot of us have that more so than like a lot of men have like naturally accustomed to, or at least societally thought as like that's a strength. But I think with our employees, with our customers, we always, both of us, go out at like first listening with empathy and understanding. We're so grateful as women to have this like empathetic, not soft, because we're not necessarily soft, but like, I don't know, I think we're just more prone to trying to work with someone where they're at and getting to that level with them so that we can move forward.
Their commitment to hard work and authenticity has created a welcoming place for the community, no matter who you are. They have poured their hearts into this place. It's not just a business, it's a home.
We want the coffee to be so good, but at the end of the day, it's just a cup of coffee. So, it's just about this culture of being seen and remembered.
Nikki and Katie aren't just running a coffee shop, they're creating a legacy built on passion, leadership, and community. And for them, this is only the beginning. So hey, let's drink soon.
Thanks for sharing, Sydney. I think that we all have a new spot to try. And with that, we'll wrap up today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, or new story ideas, you can email us at can'tstopthefunk@gmail.com. I'm Lexi Giannopoulos.
And I'm Colby. As we finish up the show today, we leave you with a look at Unearthed. This is a mini documentary by Aro Saharianavana. and it delves into Furman University's evolving climate action plan, exploring the university's bold sustainability goals and the challenges it faces in South Carolina's political landscape. Featuring insights from environmental experts and advocates, it uncovers the tensions between local legislation and Furman's commitment to carbon neutrality. Enjoy.
I think that every living being on the planet has an obligation to do the best that it can to do as little harm as possible. In my view, an academic institution is not insulated from the demand that I would place upon it.
Extremes. Extreme temperatures, hurricanes, floods. Major environmental events are pushing us to start a conversation surrounding climate change. The consequences of Hurricane Helene were a good example. But one can't talk about climate change without touching base on climate action. With ongoing momentum of climate action in the early 2000s, many organizations, companies, and institutions are now tackling this issue. Furman University, like other higher education institutions, is becoming such leader in the South. Founded in 1826, Furman has a long history of being ahead of its time, known for its rigorous academics and beautiful campus. Over the years, Furman implemented programs and set plans to reduce its carbon footprint. Step by step, Dr. David Shai, the 10th president of Furman University, shaped its pathway to sustainability. Sustainability Planning Group, LED buildings, solar farm, greenhouse gas inventory, campus center dedicated to sustainability, and finally, the carbon neutrality goal. He was unstoppable, but all that momentum slowed down.
I think initially for sure. I think we were way out on a limb in the early 2000s when we were really pushing sustainability on campus, and I think we were certainly ahead of our time. I think the times have caught up to us, and I think now is the time for us to really reassess that and push ourselves out ahead again, and so that we can really continue to be a leader in sustainability.
The carbon neutrality goal that was set in November of 2009 to reach carbon neutrality by 2026 ultimately failed. In 2023, Furman set a new goal, a 60% net reduction in carbon emissions by 2030 and full carbon neutrality by 2040. But that makes students question, why did the Climate Action Plan 1.0 fail? Sustainability science major Summer Marsden is one of the students raising concerns.
We're really failing to truly represent that commitment to sustainability, which is a problem not only for our image as a campus, but it's also very contrary to the amount of emphasis that is put on advertising Furman as a sustainable institution.
It's been a challenge in the Southeast for sure, because its opportunities are different.
And opportunities are hindered by the lack of energy competition in South Carolina, where a monopolistic energy market limits access to diverse renewable energy sources. Taylor Spear, an energy regulatory lawyer in Greenville.
The way you receive, deliver, and purchase power will always create opportunities that are not available when you only have one entity serving that need. Everyone is afraid of the electric distribution utility. And any of those persons is wise to mind and be respectful of that relationship.
With all their greenwashing ads, energy companies remain the biggest gatekeepers of their progress. They cap solar buybacks, reducing contributions to carbon neutrality while quietly doubling down on fossil fuels. At Furman, only 5% of all the energy that comes from the solar farm can be used. Despite the possibility of investing more in renewable sources, the existing policies limit organizations from gaining benefits for being more environmentally responsible.
Because then those electrons that it is already generating and would be generating regardless are being delivered to other and new customers.
Despite all these challenges with the policies in South Carolina, Furman keeps pushing for what it believes in, finding ways to stay committed to sustainability and advocating for better solutions.
And we do have a voice, and it's as an institution that's well respected in South Carolina, and we have a voice that I think we could use strategically. And there are a lot of advocates out there also pushing for similar opportunities. So yeah, I think it's a place, maybe that's a place where students could really get involved more actively.
We just have to move forward to do what we think is best. But to truly make progress, we must unearth the truth about the obstacles that we face, the policies that hold us back, and the solutions that will lead us forward. By uncovering these realities and challenging the status quo, Furman will not only reach its sustainability goals, but also inspire others to take meaningful action. The journey will not be easy, but the truth we uncover will light the way.